The most dangerous rain jacket is not always the one that leaks. Sometimes it is the one that looks perfect from the outside while quietly soaking you from the inside. You zip it up, you pull the hood tight, the rain beads for a little while. You feel safe, protected, prepared. And then, 20 minutes later, your shirt is damp. Your sleeves feel clammy, your back feels cold, and you start thinking the jacket failed. But here is the part most people never realize. That moisture may not be rain. It may be you. Your own body can turn a waterproof jacket into a plastic bag if the outer fabric stops working the way it was designed to work. And the strange part is this: the fix can cost less than a cup of coffee. Not a new jacket, not a fancy upgrade, not some premium outdoor store miracle bottle. Just a simple reset method that most people either never learn or they learn too late after they have already thrown away gear that could have been saved. Most people think rain gear has one job: keep rain out. That is only half the story. A good rain jacket has to do two things at once. It has to block liquid water coming from the outside, and it has to allow water vapor from your body to escape from the inside. That second part is where everything goes wrong. When you walk, climb, run errands, shovel snow, set up camp, or even just move fast through a city storm, your body produces heat. Heat produces sweat. Even if you do not feel like you are sweating, your skin is releasing moisture vapor. That vapor needs somewhere to go. Modern waterproof, breathable jackets are built around that idea. They use membranes, coatings, tiny pores, chemical gradients, and layered fabrics to move vapor outward while blocking rain. But there is one condition. The outside fabric has to stay relatively dry on the surface. When the outer face fabric wets out, meaning water stops beading and starts spreading into the fabric, the whole system slows down. The jacket may still be technically waterproof, but it no longer breathes the way it should. So you get trapped. Rain on the outside, sweat on the inside, cold fabric between the two. And then your brain tells you, this jacket leaks. But the jacket may not be leaking at all. It may be suffocating. That is the part nobody puts in big letters on the sales tag. They tell you waterproof rating. They tell you breathable rating. They tell you seam sealed, storm ready, mountain tested, adventure proven. But they do not always tell you that dirt, body oils, smoke, detergent residue, fabric softener, sunscreen, campfire particles, and plain old wear can make that expensive jacket behave like a cheap poncho. Here is the part outdoor brands mention, but almost never explain clearly. The magic layer on most rain gear is not just the waterproof membrane, it is the surface treatment on the outside. That surface treatment is usually called DWR, which stands for Durable Water Repellent. It is what makes rain bead up and roll off instead of flattening into the fabric. When your jacket is new, you see those perfect little droplets dancing on the surface. That is DWR doing its job. But over time, DWR wears down. It gets contaminated, it gets flattened, it gets covered. And once that happens, water starts clinging to the face fabric. That does not always mean water is passing through the jacket, but it does mean the outer layer is staying wet. And when the outer layer stays wet, vapor from your body has a much harder time escaping. That is when the inside starts feeling damp. That is when your base layer turns clammy. That is when a simple walk in the rain starts feeling like you wrapped yourself in cold plastic. Now, let's be fair. This is not something one company invented and hid in a vault. Brands do mention care instructions. Some sell cleaners and sprays. Some have small print recommendations. Some customer service pages explain it. But most people never hear the plain version. They hear, waterproof breathable, and they assume it will keep working forever. It will not. Rain gear is more like a cast iron pan than a steel bucket. You do not just own it, you maintain it. And if you do not maintain it, the surface stops behaving the way it was built to behave. The frustrating part is that many people replace their jackets at exactly the moment they should have cleaned and reset them. They spend $120, $180, $300, sometimes more. Then they say, this new one is so much better. And maybe it is. But maybe the old one just needed a $2 intervention. The method is not glamorous, which is probably why it gets ignored. You are going to clean the surface contamination, rinse away, residue, and then help the water repellent finish stand back up. Here is the simplest version. First, check the care label on your jacket. Do not skip that. Different jackets use different materials, and some insulated pieces, coated shells, or specialty fabrics need specific care. If the label says hand wash only, follow that. If it says no heat, obey it. If it says no bleach, absolutely no bleach. Now take a clean cloth or sponge, lukewarm water, and a tiny amount of mild soap or a proper technical wash if you have it. If you are doing the budget version, the key is not using a strong cleaner. The key is using something gentle and rinsing thoroughly. Wipe the high contamination zones first. Collar, chin area, cuffs, underarms, around pockets, the lower back where backpacks rub, anywhere skin oil, sweat, grime, or sunscreen builds up. These areas matter because they are where the fabric gets coated with invisible junk. Then rinse. And I mean rinse more than you think you need to. Residue is the enemy. A lot of people accidentally ruin breathability by washing rain gear with regular detergent and leaving behind softeners, fragrances, brighteners, or soap film. That residue attracts water. It can make the fabric wet out faster. It can interfere with the surface treatment. If your jacket is machine washable, wash it according to the label using a gentle cycle and a technical cleaner if possible. If you only have mild soap, use very little, and rinse twice. Now comes the overlooked part. Once the jacket is clean, test the surface. Sprinkle water on the shoulders and sleeves. If the water beads and rolls, you may be done. If the water spreads, darkens the fabric, or clings flat to the surface, the DWR needs help. There are two common ways to reactivate or restore it. Some jackets respond to low heat. A warm dryer cycle, only if the care label allows it, can help reactivate remaining DWR. Not high heat, not guessing. Follow the label. The second option is a spray-on water repellent treatment. This usually costs more than $2 for a bottle, but per treatment, it can be very cheap. For the ultra-budget method, some people use a diluted vinegar rinse to help remove detergent residue before retesting the fabric. This is not the same as replacing DWR, and it will not magically waterproof a worn-out jacket, but it can help strip away residues that are causing wet-out behavior. A practical low-cost rinse is simple. Water first, a small splash of white vinegar in a basin, brief agitation, then a clean water rinse afterward. Do not soak exotic fabrics forever. Do not mix chemicals. Do not use vinegar with bleach. And do not assume this replaces the manufacturer's recommended care. Think of it as a reset for contamination, not a miracle coating. After that, dry according to the label. Then test again. Sprinkle water. Watch what happens. If droplets bead more cleanly than before, you have improved the surface behavior. If water still spreads immediately, the old DWR may be too worn, and you may need a dedicated spray-on treatment. But even then, you are still not buying a new jacket. You are restoring the one you already own. This is not magic, and that is exactly why you should trust it. The reason this works is simple surface science. Water behaves differently depending on what kind of surface it touches. On a clean, water-repellent surface, water molecules prefer to cling to each other more than they cling to the fabric, so they form beads. On a dirty or contaminated surface, water has more places to grab. Oils, detergent residue, dust, and worn fibers can make the surface more attractive to water. So instead of beading, water spreads. When water spreads, across the outside of the jacket, the fabric wets out. And once it wets out, breathability drops. Your sweat vapor cannot escape as easily. Your body keeps producing moisture. That moisture condenses inside. And now you feel wet even though the jacket may still be blocking rain. That is the nasty trick. You blame the storm. You blame the brand. You blame the price. But sometimes the real problem is surface failure. And surface failure is often maintenance failure. Now, there are honest limits here. If the waterproof membrane is cracked, punctured, delaminated, or peeling, cleaning will not rebuild it. If seam tape is falling off, A rinse will not fix that. If your jacket is 20 years old and the coating is flaking, like old paint, it may be at the end of its life. But if the jacket is structurally sound and just wetting out, this method can make a dramatic difference. Not forever in the literal sense. Nothing on fabric lasts forever. But it can give you sustained performance again, sometimes enough to make an old jacket feel surprisingly usable. Now, before you run to your sink and start scrubbing, there are a few traps. Trap number 1, fabric softener. Do not use it on rain gear. Fabric softener is designed to leave a coating on fabric. That is exactly the kind of thing you do not want on a technical shell. Trap number 2, too much detergent. More soap does not mean more clean. It usually means more residue. And residue is one of the main reasons jackets stop shedding water. Trap number 3, high heat. Heat can help some DWR finishes reactivate, but too much heat can damage fabric, melt trims, loosen seam tape, or deform coatings. Always follow the care label. Trap number 4, scrubbing like you are cleaning a grill. You are not trying to punish the jacket. Use gentle pressure. Focus on contamination zones. Let the cleaner do the work. Trap number 5, expecting one method to solve every problem. A dirty shell, a worn-out DWR, a damaged membrane, and failed seam tape are different issues. The water sprinkle test tells you about the surface. It does not prove the membrane is perfect. If water beads outside, but you still get wet in one specific spot, check seams, zippers, pockets, vents, and shoulder areas under backpack straps. Pressure changes everything. A backpack strap can force water into weak areas. Sitting on wet ground can push water through fabrics that would otherwise resist rain. A dirty zipper can leak, a damaged seam can channel water. So think like an investigator. Where is the moisture? Is it everywhere, or just one location? Does it happen when you are standing still, or only when hiking hard? Is the inside damp after sweating, or soaked after pressure from a pack? Those questions matter, because the solution depends on the cause. The test is brutally simple. Hang the jacket or lay it flat. Sprinkle clean water across the shoulders, sleeves, and chest. Do not blast it with a hose yet. Start gently. If the water beads up, the outer surface is still repelling. If it spreads and darkens the face fabric is wetting out. Now clean it, rinse it, dry it according to the label. Test again, that is your before and after, no guessing. No brand loyalty, no marketing language, just fabric behavior. And this is where a lot of people get surprised. They discover their rain jacket was not dead. It was dirty. Or it was carrying detergent residue. Or the DWR was tired but not gone. Or the jacket needed 10 minutes of correct care instead of $300 of replacement. That does not mean expensive rain gear is a scam. High-quality shells can absolutely perform better in harsh conditions, but even premium gear fails when ignored. A neglected expensive jacket can feel worse than a maintained budget jacket. That is the part worth remembering. The best rain gear is not the one with the most dramatic tag. It is the one that keeps working when weather turns ugly. And sometimes keeping it working starts in your sink. The secret was never really a secret. It was just hidden behind care labels, confusing fabric terms, and the assumption that waterproof means maintenance-free. Your jacket is not a wall. It is a system. Rain outside, vapor inside, surface treatment in between. When that surface treatment gets contaminated or worn, moisture gets trapped. You get cold. You get frustrated. And you may end up replacing gear that still had life left in it. So before you blame your jacket, test it. Before you replace it, clean it. Before you spend big money, try the cheap reset. A little water, a gentle clean, a careful rinse, and the right drying method can reveal whether your rain gear is truly failing or just begging for maintenance. If this helped you see your gear differently, subscribe for more practical outdoor fixes and overlooked techniques that save money without pretending there is magic involved. Because the real advantage is not buying every new thing they put on the shelf. It is understanding what you already own well enough to make it work.